Could I have roll call, please?
Okay, at 9:35. Commissioners Markham,
Here.
Middleton,
Here.
Gershenson,
Here.
McGillivray,
Here.
Quarles,
Here.
Powell,
Here.
Long, Cowell,
Here.
Jack,
Here.
and Joan.
Thank you. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With that, I need an approval of the minutes, please. Commissioner McGillivray, supported by Commissioner Quarles. Are there any questions about them? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. It carries. I need an approval of a motion to approve the agenda, please. Commissioner Powell?
I have a question.
Yes.
I know we were a little delayed. I just want to make sure on the website, is that the most updated agenda? But that's where I need to pull from.
My understanding is it is.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. And yes, I will still be the move it.
Okay, and then I need a second for the agenda, Commissioner Gershenson. Any questions on the agenda? Yes, Commissioner Gershenson.
Yeah, I'd like Mike Tim to address at some point that the memo that he sent about the update on Wi-Fi.
We didn't get into communications yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is just to approve the agenda. Okay, all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye, say yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Motion carries. With that, we have public comment.
Good morning. Currently, your public comment lines are open. There are no callers and there are no online or email submissions.
Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate seeing and hearing that there is none. I'm going to close public comment. Now I need a motion for the communications. Commissioner Cowell, supported by Commissioner Quarles. Are there, okay. I know that Commissioner Gershenson, you have a question about item number E on communications. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then Commissioner Quarles, I'll get you. You have a question too?
Yes, my question was about item E as well.
Okay, great. So Mike, Tim, are you with us right now to answer questions?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. This is Mike. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was on mute. Commissioner Gershenson, please start.
Thank you. Mike, so the initiated project planning, that is for Wi-Fi for the county? Is this about
yes,
the
only for what we called in the resolution previously, what we're calling the Group A sites. We do have a broader Wi-Fi project, and we started with these first sites, which includes the 4 district courts, a large section of the circuit court building, 12E on the campus, as well as the 5th floor and the conference center in the executive office building and the IT building where the infrastructure is housed. That's the first set of sites. But then the UCC program more broadly, the rest of the county campus will go through its engineering and design process later on this fall or early next year.
Okay, so this is not addressing the schools or the community. This is addressing the courts and the county infrastructure.
Correct. Yes, it's part of the original UCC program for just the county campus. Correct. Plus the district courts.
Okay, and this is the 52nd court. This includes the Clarkston court as well.
Yes, Clarkston 52-2, Novi, Rochester. Yep, and Troy. Are those four?
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Quarles, you had some questions for this item too.
Yeah, thank you. My question is more on clarity. As I was reading through the resolution, I was trying to see when is it projected to start and this phase is projected to be completed.
Well, we should get the wiring. The wiring has been ordered, so that will take place within the buildings to connect the new antennas back to our switches, which are located in the buildings. That'll get started. The wiring is ordered. We're working with our wiring supplier. So that work should start next week, actually in the buildings. So the district court buildings will see that activity. We have ordered all of the wireless access points or the wireless antennas. We've also ordered the controllers. Those are on order, and we're awaiting a delivery date on the controller. That'll be the main infrastructure installed in IT.
Okay. So, in short, everything is ordered. You're just waiting to implement it and begin the process.
Yes, and while we're waiting on the equipment to come in, we're finishing up the designs, which will be the location of the antennas, and then coordinating with the facilities to actually get into the buildings and perform the wiring. And then we have a fair amount of network technical work that has to be done in IT. We're also going through that design process as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other issues, questions? Okay, seeing Commissioner Middleton.
Yes, not for Mike, but for the Sheriff's Department. We're getting a new dog. Is that a replacement or are we increasing the number of dogs that we have?
That's a replacement, Commissioner.
Okay, replacement. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, that's all, Chairman.
Okay, let's call, okay, communications. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those, oh, Commissioner Quarles, is that a yes? Okay. Anybody opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. Moving on to the regular agenda. Item number 1, Human Resources, 1-year contract extension with Siegel Company, Midwest States Incorporated. And I need a motion to approve this, please. Commissioner Markham, supported by Commissioner Quarles. Thank you. And we have Jennifer Hain to present. Thank you.
Good morning. It's nice to see everybody. Hope you're doing well. So I've got, this morning, I've got a contract extension for your consideration. We contract with the Siegel Company right now as our benefit consultant in HR, and they assist us with a number of projects and issues throughout the year. Their current contract the timing of it's unfortunate. It currently expires at the end of November, and we had started working on an RFP in early summer. But then as a couple of things happened that were pretty unusual this year, we've been working on the Workday implementation all summer and right now still early fall. And with Workday, the open enrollment process is going to be conducted through Workday this year instead of our former processes, which are underway right now, all the testing for it, for the system. And then at the same time, I've been working with April Lynch, and we're starting to work on a 5-year benefit strategy and plan. And Siegel's been instrumental in helping us with that. So basically what this is just the timing's been unfortunate that their contract is up, and we need the continuity of their assistance for the next year. So what I'm asking for is that we could extend their contract for 1 more year. And then next year we'll still continue to go out to bid for the services. We have a lot of contracts in HR. I've got about 27, and this is actually the first time I've ever asked for an extension. It's not something I plan to do regularly. So we're hoping you could help us out with that. And open to any questions anyone may have.
Commissioner Middleton.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Jennifer, on the very end of the contract or the presentation we have, it says financial obligations. In blue, it says excluding special or additional services. What do you mean by that? That they can increase the cost, or does were those in the old contract and you're taking those out?
Well, I think what that refers to is the base contract with Siegel is $54,000 a year.
Annually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a flat rate. But they also assist us most years with the Affordable Care Act 1095C forms that we have to produce and electronically transmit to the IRS. And that one piece is as an add-on if we have them do it. It's about $30,000. They subcontract that out. So we're hoping to be able to do it ourselves this year, but we can't start working on it till open enrollment's done, but then it's due in January. So we may still have them help us with that, only because partial year data, half the year's under PeopleSoft and the other half's under Workday. So it may be trickier this year trying to get those required reporting out. So that's why there's a possible variance in the contract, but it's the same flat rate, and they've agreed to not increase the price at all for this 1-year extension.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? Seeing none, let's call the roll, please.
On item number 1, Commissioners Markham,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Gershenson, on item number 1, you're muted.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Item number 2, Water Resources Commissioner, City of Bloomfield Hills Water System Operation and Maintenance Agreement. I need a motion, please. Commissioner Gershenson, supported by Commissioner Long. And John Bash or Tim Prince, are you with us?
Yes, this is John Bash. Tim Prince had a death in the family. He will not be joining us today. With respect to the Water System Operations and Maintenance Agreement, this is identical to approximately a dozen that the board has approved this year. It authorizes Oakland County to operate and maintain Bloomfield Hills water system on a nonprofit basis. It's a 10-year contract with a 10-year renewal. And this contract has been reviewed and vetted by Fiscal Services and Corporation Counsel. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
You have any, Commissioner Middleton, are you raising your hand?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. John, the city owns the pipes and everything. We just do the maintenance and upgrades to it. We never take ownership of any pipe, do we?
That's correct.
Okay, just a clarification. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? Seeing none, let's call the roll, please.
On item number 2, Commissioners Middleton,
Yes, thank you.
Gershenson,
Yes.
McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 9 yeas, 0 nays.
My item number 3 is Water Resources Commissioner, City of Bloomfield Hills Sewer System Operation and Maintenance Agreement. Commissioner Gershenson, supported by, need a motion, support, Commissioner McGillivray. Tim, is there any more to add?
I don't think so. It's virtually identical to the water system. This is just the sewer system. These are identical contracts.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, let's call the roll, please.
On item number 3, Commissioners Gershenson,
Yes.
McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Long. Long, do we lose you?
Commissioner Long, are
Are
you
you there,
there?
Long? Commissioner Long?
Yeah.
I'll come back. Colwell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Long,
Oh, gosh, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah, I
we
can hear you now. I think you blanked out. but
I
you
lost
were-
the whole screen. You did lose me. I had a blank screen. I was like going, yes, yes, yes. Okay.
And Zach,
Yes.
I'm sure you have 9 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. Item number 4, Economic Development and Community Affairs, United States Environmental Protection Agency, Brownfield Assessment Consortium Grant Acceptance. And we have Dan Hunter here with us. And those of you that are not talking, please mute. There's some back.
Good morning, Madam Chair and other commissioners. It's great to see you, and I hope you are well. Seeking grant acceptance for this grant from the Environmental Protection Agency. I'm joined by Brad Hansen, who worked closely. I think this is our 4th or 5th round with these consortium communities that are really important. Brad does a great job working with the EPA, and very successful program. This is for site assessments for phase 1 and phase 2. So internally, from our business development group, also our business finance group, and our downtown group, we get projects. We also get projects from the communities and consortium and around Oakland County. So with that, Brad and I would be happy to answer any of your questions, but very, very successful program.
Any questions? Okay, yes.
Madam Chair, do we get a motion on this?
Sorry, we didn't. I need a motion, please. Commissioner Markham, supported by Commissioner Colwell. Thank you. I did fail to do that. Okay, now we can call the roll.
On item number 4, Commissioners McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Colwell? Yes. Markham,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 5, Health and Human Services, Community and Home Improvement Division, approval of project funding for redevelopment of affordable rental housing in the city of Pontiac located at Carriage Place. I need a motion. Commissioner Powell, supported by Commissioner Gershenson. Thank you. And we have Carrie Reith, I know is by phone. Carrie, are you going to present, or do we have Rudy Hobbs with us?
Commissioner, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Fantastic. Rudy Hobbs is not going to be with us this morning, so he's asked me to introduce this. This resolution is really to obtain your support for the Carriage Place project in the city of Pontiac using $1.5 million in home funding that will allow gap financing to occur to help sustain the project. We're renovating 234 units of existing affordable rental housing at Carriage Place, and the project has been approved by the Michigan State Housing Development Authority's low-income housing tax credit program, so we come in with gap financing for them. And we're excited about the project and hope we have your support on it.
Do we have any questions? Commissioner Middleton.
Yes. As I read the resolution, there's 37 million for, is that for remodeling, or 37,000 maybe? And then 1.5 million, is that, are we doing remortgaging and the repairs, or are we just gonna, is the 1.5 cover everything?
The 37 million is the total project application amount that the partnership had submitted to MSHDA for low-income housing tax credit. And we come in with 1.5 million to help with the rehabilitation costs of the units themselves. So our funding will go toward renovation costs only out of that 34 million.
34 or 37, I thought.
37.
37 in
Yeah.
our report says. Okay. And so our money, we're putting 37 million into remodel.
No.
We are putting 1.5 million. And it will be part of the total renovation project cost of 37 million. And ours will be a loan.
Okay, for 1.5.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, have we spent that kind of money remodeling other facilities, or have we had requests to pay for remodeling?
Now, the new initiative in our division has been to develop affordable rental housing. So a project of this magnitude has not been completed by our division before, so this is a new initiative and one step toward maintaining affordable housing for all of the tenants in Carriage Place.
Okay, is this a grant, or is it going to be a revolving fund like we've used in the past, and these funds where as they repay, then we have money to lend out to the next person to do it?
This program is not associated with our home improvement program, which you're familiar with, that generates funds in repayments to the revolving loan. This project is funded under the Home Investment Partnerships Program, and it will stand alone as a loan, and it will be paid back, years on, and it could be a monthly basis payback. Jody Hall is on the phone with us, who can talk more about that. But by and large, there will be a payback of the loan to Oakland County at some point in time.
Okay.
But it will not be a revolving loan.
It won't be going into a revolving fund like the other program structure. So, okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
I have Long and Gershenson, but I do want to explain more globally about this project. This is a collaborative project that is undertaken with several different nonprofits with the Pontiac Housing Corporation. You have Lighthouse, you have Ethos Partners, Equity Partners, and there are approved low-income tax credits that have been approved by Michigan State Housing Authority. So it is a collaborative entity. We're just providing some gap financing of this loan to put this deal together. So with that, Commissioner Long.
Okay, and just further, just on Commissioner Middleton's question, Carrie. So this is the kind of a new program going forward. So we can accept other applicants in all different areas and municipalities as time goes on if they apply, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then one other thing, probably for Angela, where is Carriage Place? Where is it located in Pontiac?
It is off of, the intersection is Updike and Auburn, but it's on Martin Luther King Boulevard.
That's what I was gonna say, by there, by M59.
If y'all wanted to look at the location, if you Google Woodside Baptist Church or Carriage Circle, it should come up on Google. So you
Okay,
know.
thank you. I know what you're talking about. Thank you. I know what you're talking about. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Gershenson?
Thank you. So MISTA is covering the 37 million. And then we are loaning the city the 1.5 million. Is that correct?
Yes, but in their pro forma, the 1.5 coming from the county is part of that 37 million project cost.
Okay, I see. And I was confused about the home program as opposed to the not the CHORE, but the CDBG funding. So this is a different pot of money that all communities that are looking to have some low income housing can apply for?
That's a complex question, and it's multifaceted. So let me try to do the best I can here. There are new initiatives and priorities being established for the expenditure of our home funds in community and home improvement. And the priority has been set to develop more affordable rental housing. What has to happen is, heretofore, we have, through our community housing development organizations, reserved 15% of their funds. It's a federal mandate to do affordable housing for us. But now we're expanding beyond that 15% that goes to CHODOs into another pool of funding under home that will end up reducing the number of home improvement loans we can do in the home improvement program in combination with community development block grant funds. The home program is for developing affordable housing, and the community development block grant funds are dedicated for 1/3 of those funds goes into the loan pool for the home improvement program, and 2/3 of the funds are dedicated to communities by formula such that they can undertake a wide variety of capital improvement, public service, and housing activities. Home improvement is funded by both CDBG and home. And so when we reduce the amount of home improvement capacity under the home program, that means in total we'll do fewer houses in the home improvement program, but we'll be opening up a new avenue for the county to oversee the development of new projects like Carriage Place at levels that they're at. The applications wouldn't come from communities, commissioners. They would come from developers. We're in the process of developing a program design and an RFP process such that after this project is underway and completed, then we'll be offering other funding in an RFP manner to developers across Oakland County to develop affordable housing for tenants, for rents. So I hope that addressed some of your
Yeah, no, I understand. Thank you. This is as a result of, wasn't it last term that we had a lawsuit that HUD did not approve of the way we were spending money because we were not including rentals? And isn't this whole project a result of that?
Well, I think set aside the Fair Housing Voluntary Compliance Agreement for a minute. I think it's predicated upon the initiative and the need identified through the Board of Commissioners that we needed more affordable rental housing in Oakland County. Yes, the fair housing issue, HUD came to us and said, we would like to see you develop affordable housing. There was no finding that said we had to do that, but it was what they encouraged, and it is what we agreed to do. And it's what the Board of Commissioners has been working toward. If you recall, we changed our community housing development organization initiatives from home buyer to rental. And we increased that amount from 15% to 20%. And now this is the first large project we're moving forward with.
Right. No, I'm really happy to see that we're addressing that need in the community. So I think this is a good start. Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Middleton.
Yes, as I read this and with your comment that you're working with developers on this, is the 1.5 million is for tax credits. So a developer would come to you and apply for these tax credits. So when they get the building built and start renting, then they can deduct the amount of well, it'd be federal income tax on that and state income tax. So really cash isn't moving. Is it just the credit of not having to pay so much taxes? Is that how it's how it works?
There are, and Jody, chime in if you need to. There are two facets to this activity. One, the first is that the developer actually applies to the state of Michigan, the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, for the low-income housing tax credits. Oakland County does not coordinate or foster that. So a developer would come to us with a proposal that would say, we are applying for low-income housing tax credit to do this project, and we really need gap financing for the county to make this a more viable deal in the eyes of MSHDA, because the low-income housing tax credit really likes to see leverage occur and partnerships, and Commissioner Zach spoke to the partnership here. And so what happens is that yes, there are tax incentives for the developer to make the construction deal financially solvent, but we come to the table with a loan amount that is actually going to end up being a cash payment for the construction aspect of the project.
So Commissioner Middleton, this is Jody Hall from Corporation Counsel. We will not be awarding any tax credits per se. We use our home funds as a loan, and it will be structured like a loan. We'll have a mortgage and a note and an agreement. So, but we do not award any tax credits. That's MSHA's responsibility.
Okay, but the developer, with the agreement with the state for tax credits, agrees that his rental rate will be lowered, or there's some requirement that to get those tax credits, he's got to give up something, and and what he's given up is free reign on what he charges for rent. Then
Exactly, and then also Commissioner Middleton, the state has an agreement with the developer, and then the county will have a separate agreement with the developer, and all the federal regulations, home regulations associated with the monies will be incorporated in the agreement. And in there's specific terms that, you know, make sure that they hold the rent to certain parameters required by HUD.
And I can understand why the state would like to have the county as a partner, because then there's somebody local watching over the whole situation rather than from Lansing. So, okay, I'm satisfied with it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
On item number 5, Commissioners Quarles,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Gershenson,
Yes.
McGillivray,
Yes.
Zach.
Yes,
Madam Chair, you have 9 yeas, 0 nays.
thank you. Moving on to item number 6, Corporation Council Fiscal Year 2021 Michigan Indigent Defense Commission Grant Program Acceptance. And thank you. Hello, Mary.
Hello, Madam Chair.
Welcome. And I need a motion, please. Commissioner McGillivray, supported by Commissioner Gershenson. Thank you. Mary, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. We also have in attendance Malcolm Brown, who's the project manager on the MIDC project. This particular grant is the 3rd annual grant we have received from the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. This grant is awarded to Oakland County in order for us to comply with the standards set by the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. The standards that we have to comply with, standards 1 through 4, include continuing legal education for our defense attorneys that take court appointments in the entire county. We orchestrate that through the Oakland County Bar Association and manage that contract for all of the defense attorneys in the county, including those that practice in the non-county funded courts as well. Standard 2 involves confidential space and initial interview requirements for court-appointed attorneys. Standard 3 is increased funding for experts and investigators. And Standard 4 is having defense attorneys appear at arraignments for indigent defendants. This represents slightly under $1.2 million increase this year. That is largely the result of the MIDC, the commission awarding us $900,000 increase for our felony court-appointed attorneys in the circuit court. It also represents us taking over the entire function of appointing court-appointed attorneys for defendants that are housed in the Oakland County Jail. And that is for all of our district courts, our circuit court, and all the non-county funded courts as well. Since we have taken over that function and we are receiving the entire grant funding for that function, we have eliminated a management and budget position. because we no longer invoice or have to manage the payments and invoices for non-county funded courts. So if there aren't any other, I'm happy to answer any questions. And of course, Malcolm is here as well to answer questions.
Do I have any questions? Commissioner Middleton?
Yes, there at your last point that now we're covering those expenses rather than billing the communities for them. Is that account clerk 2 position, is that person getting laid off or what's the status there?
That person was never hired.
Oh, okay.
That position was
That
never
responsibility was spread between other people or?
We never issued invoice. We issued one invoice before COVID, and then we worked out with the MIDC that we're going to take over the entire function. We prepared interlocals, and all of the communities agreed to those interlocals.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Colwell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Does this cover Oakland County's expenses? That's all I need to know. Thanks.
Well, the way the MIDC Act is structured, we receive a grant for the cost of all of the Michigan Indigent Defense, except for our local share. Local share is a statutory calculation that was our average expense before the MIDC Act was enacted in 2013 for the 3 years prior to that. So we averaged our actual expenses at the county fiscal year 10, 11, and 12. And that average is what our local share is calculated at. And that is listed approximately 1.8 million. That is what our share is. And then of course the grant is what is over and above that for the total cost of indigent defense.
Any other questions? Commissioner Middleton?
Yes, this grant is to cover 1 through 4 of the requirements that they put down. And it starts to creep into item number 5. How many more items are there before we get done with this indigent defense situation?
Well, the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission has approved 8 standards, but only 4 have been approved by LARA, the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, and only those 4 have been funded by the state. Now, we did receive a written communication from LARA that they will approve Standard 5 in October of this year, and that we will have to produce a compliance plan by April 30th of next year to implement Standard 5. That is independence of the judiciary. That requires that we separate the function that is currently going on at the district courts and at the circuit court for the qualification, the appointment, and the payment for defense attorneys has to be separated from the court. And that we will be putting together a compliance plan in order to comply with Standard 5. And then we will be requesting funding April 30th for that standard. Standards 6, 7, and 8 have not been funded. 6 is caseload controls. 7 is qualifications for attorneys. We're already in compliance with 7. We already have some of the highest qualifications in our county. We've been informed by our regional director of the MIDC that we don't have much to do for Standard 7 when that is going to be implemented. Standard 8 is payment for attorney. That requires that we start developing a system to pay between $100 and $120 an hour for our defense attorneys. That is going to be at least 2 or 3 years down the road. There's not dedicated funding for Standard 8, and LARA, the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, has only committed through Standard 5 at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
On item number 6, Commissioners Powell,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Cowell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
McGershenson,
Yes.
McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 9 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Item number 7, Economic Development, Community Affairs, Reorganization of Divisions and Positions. I need a motion, please. Commissioner Markham, supported by, who wants, Commissioner Long, thank you. And we have Deputy County Exec Sean Carlson here to talk about it. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioners, for hearing this item today. I believe Chief Deputy Hillary Chambers is on the line as well. So the resolution, Chris, can you hold off on that just for a second? I appreciate that. I just want to give a little bit of a backdrop before we jump into that. Thank you. I just want to set up this resolution in regards to the reorganization. If you recall, last June, we were in front of this committee and also went in front of the Board of Commissioners. We did an org chart bringing veteran services over to workforce development, and then also community and home improvement went over to the health department. At that point in time, we shared that more reorganization would be coming in the months ahead. In July, we were in front of this committee and shared the work that we did. As you know, County Executive Coulter, when he came onto the job last August, September, he outlined some expectations for a new economic development strategic plan for Oakland County, one that was strategic, integrated, and comprehensive, a roadmap to be a state, regional, and national leaders, aligned with mission, vision, goals, key performance indicators, that was actionable and efficiently implemented, and that we were robust in the areas of economic growth and jobs, prosperity, and competitiveness for the next 5 years. Now, when we started on this venture, I don't think that there was too many economic development organizations probably across the state or even across the country that were looking at a strategic plan. But in fact, this has proved to be very valuable of an effort for us that we pursued on that path. Number one, because we haven't had a comprehensive plan. I think our historian, Dan Hunter, has said in over 25 years. So it was needed. This is an economy that has a real GDP of over $100 billion, which is more than any other county in the state of Michigan. And it is one of the reasons we represent close to 1/4 of the real GDP for the state of Michigan. So you've heard me and you've heard County Executive Coulter say many times that Oakland County is the engine for the state of Michigan. So it's important for us to have a plan. Case in point is when COVID-19 hit. There are a lot of economic organizations across this state and across the country that are now putting strategic plans together. I'm happy that we started this way back in November. January, we kicked it off. We had 2 national firms help guide us through this process. We were close to putting a bow on it and coming in front of the commissioners and getting your input back at the end of March, beginning of April. We had a couple of meetings on the books even at that point in time, but then COVID hit. And so one of the things we asked our firms is to go back and look at this plan, adjust this plan to account, especially for our lower wage services and our lower wage salary type positions, our brick and mortar retail, our local business development organizations, our bars, our restaurants, our downtown stores that were really have been hit and impacted. Every business has been impacted by COVID-19, but those have taken an especially hard hit. And although, as we heard from our University of Michigan economist a few weeks ago, talk about a V curve, and by the 4th quarter of 2022, get back to normal in most of those areas. But all of this has really highlighted and solidified the need for us to move forward with a reorganization. One of the things I shared was the task list with this committee of all the different assignments that our national firms had to understand the economic analysis and demographics of the county, to do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, review regional and statewide economic development strategic plans to see that we are aligned. Oakland County, review our staff, review our organization, review and assess the assets that we have here, such as the different airports that we have throughout the county. Engage key stakeholders, which we did, and then draft an economic development strategic plan. We had many engagement from our cities, villages, townships, our businesses, our economic development organizations, and we settled on a mission. Oakland County is a global destination for world-class talent, investment, and jobs. Our vision is to spur innovation, investment, and growth in Oakland County. And with that, it was established that we need to look at business development, community development, and also people, workforce development. And so with that, helped us to really understand and put an organizational chart together. So if somebody could bring that organizational chart up, I'd like to just go over that. I think from a visual perspective, there's a lot of moving parts in this. There's some new creation of positions. There's also deletions. There's also reclassifications. And of course, I'm sure you all read it. But I think the organizational chart will help illustrate a little bit more. Can you go up to slide 1? Actually, I think you're on slide 3 right now. Thank you. So I think this was emailed as well. This is just to give you kind of a graphical perspective of the org chart as it was adopted a year ago. And you can see if we go to the far left is communication, and then it's also marketing and communication. You could see as you move from left to right, a community and home improvement, which now has been moved to health department. But these are all of the organizations and how we were set up. You can go to the next chart. When we took action in June, you can see that gray sequence of boxes. That's the veteran services that has come over to workforce development. And you could see a lot of white space. Now that is where community and home improvement used to be and has been moved out. If you go to the next chart, the last chart, this is the chart that is reflective of the resolution that's in front of you. And what this chart shows is that we do have a vacant economic development director. We are out advertising for that position. We have a deputy director, and then we are organizing as our consultants have advised and as we've interacted with them. We will have a workforce development manager. Not a lot of changes there. The two big changes would be the veteran services that already took place, and also adding an administrator position for the Oakland 80 initiative, which is a very key initiative for us. The governor talked about 60 by 2030, which is 60% of the workforce having an attainment of an associate's degree or a vocational trade degree or higher. That is one of the key reasons why Oakland County continues to lead the way for the state of Michigan. We are at 59% with that educational attainment goal. Is one of the reasons why we are ranked one of the top counties against our peers with like-sized populations, is because of this educational attainment. And the Oakland 80 initiative will continue to lean in and look to have 80% of our workforce by 2030. We are at 59%. We will naturally get to 60, but we need to lead the way. And as we continue to lean in on this initiative, this will actually continue to make Oakland County a destination for other national firms and international firms to locate right here in Oakland County. As we move from left to right and then we go to business development, what we are doing in this is we are separating where we used to have economic development and planning together. We are separating those, and we will have a business development manager in that position, and that is an open position right now. We will have a national and international business attraction manager. We will have a business retention and expansion supervisor, an emerging growth and innovation administrator. There is a lot of stuff going on with mobility. We need to continue to reach out with that. We have a lot of entrepreneurial spirit and R&D in this county. We need to leverage that as well. And then the financial services that handles our EDC and BFC, Kathy Razigan, will continue to lead the way for financial services. As we move to the far right, we have community, which we are looking at a planning and community development manager. Brett Razigan will lead the way with that group. And we are looking at 3 areas: trails, transportation, and environment, local business development. So what do I mean on local business development? We are separating between business development and local business development from the perspective of traded versus local clusters. Those local clusters are our downtown retail stores. Those are our bars, our restaurants, ambulatory care, whether it's dentists or doctor offices. All of those are local businesses that help build our economy here in Oakland County. And then the last division there is planning, zoning, and land use, and very close connections with our CVTs with that particular function. So we've also collapsed some of the job descriptions. We had a lot of different job descriptions, so we worked with HR to kind of help somebody build their career here in Oakland County. If they want to do economic development, come in as a business counselor, be able to grow to a business development rep, a senior business development rep, and then look at management experiences as well. So those are the changes. We also have external affairs and business information. So we're with our external affairs, it'll be key to be a liaison with our communication division that is out of the executive office department, and Hillary will talk more about that. But this particular division will be focused on digital communication. We will be moving a little bit away from print and leaning in on digital communication, which is really the key to keep our businesses centered and focused, and a lot of technologies from that perspective. And then also information and analytics. Key performance indicators will be guiding our performance, holding us accountable, and we'll have a couple of economic development analysts that will be covering KPIs for each of the divisions I just mentioned. And then we also have a GIS CAD tech position, which is a unique position as well. So I know that's a lot. I thought a visual representation might be helpful given a lot of the moving parts with the resolution. So Hillary, you want to add anything to that, or should we start taking questions?
Yes, I will just add, we might as well do it all at once and then we can take questions. Hello, everybody. Good morning. So as a very small secondary step from Sean's reorganization of economic development, it allows us to formally provide you a reorganization as it relates to public communications and community engagement. So we have proposed a reorg that would kind of unite people that have been spread throughout the executive office or in EDCA under an Office of Public Communications. Within that office, there'll be 3 units. There will be media relations, which is, your traditional PIO, Public Information Officer role. There will be marketing and creative operations, which is the role of kind of uniting all of county government in terms of the messaging that we're delivering to the public on our website, through our social media channels, and through different efforts that we're making to inform the public of information. And then community engagement, which we've seen be, really vital in the last year. You all created the position of Community Affairs Manager last December, and there have been several people who are working in community engagement. Some people who are coming from EDCA, who were event planners, major activity organizers like Elite 40 and other activities that we're going to kind of house in the Office of Public Communications and in the community, what we'll now call the Community Engagement Division or unit, excuse me. So it's a much smaller shuffling around, but very important that we have all of these folks kind of together and working together to kind of unite. And we'll see a lot of dotted lines from health and from IT and from economic development, so that we're all kind of united in terms of providing good public information.
Okay, with that, are there any questions? Commissioner Middleton.
Yes, Sean, on your final chart, the green area community, you have a transit advisor. Is that transit for mass transit, or is it going to be for transit in the whole county?
Transit for the whole county. I think that transit advisor also helps with the smart activities. Is that correct, Hillary?
Yeah, it's really more of a mobility advisor, so it is certainly a transit advisor for the whole entire county.
Okay, so it includes road commission would be part of one of his contacts or whatever.
No, it wouldn't be. It would. I mean, the communities who provide, like the transit authorities who are providing public transportation, community transportation, those would be more of the areas underneath his jurisdiction. It wouldn't, I mean, complete streets and working with the planning department in terms of work that communities are doing on mobility issues. It wouldn't be roads per se.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do I have Commissioner Colwell?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Sean, for the schematics. So makes it easier to figure out who's on first and what's on second. So it's hard to read through the whole darn list. But I guess just one question. I probably should have asked this before, but moving veterans to workforce development, I guess what happens to the other services that we provide for veterans, like the, social services, that kind of thing. Does that move with them to workforce development? I just wonder where that went. Thank you.
Yeah, the Veteran Services move hasn't changed any of their responsibilities. They're still reaching out and covering those elements as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions here?
Madam Chair, one thing I failed to point out too, this reorganization, just for the record, does produce a $46,000 annual budget savings as well to GFGP.
Thank you. Do I have other questions? Commissioner McGilvray, and followed by Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sean, how many positions will we be adding totally, new positions?
That's a good question. There's a lot of adds and deletions. A lot of deletions in the areas that we had some vacancies that we chose not to fill, and we lapsed those. But we will have a total of 3 reduction in staff from this reorganization.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a question for Hillary. I may have missed it in your talk, but this communications department public information, where does that reside in all of this?
You're on mute, Hillary.
Under the county executive, so this department will report to me.
Okay, thank you. That's my only question.
Madam Chair, if I could just make a quick mention, there's an updated version that you moved. I just want to clarify, there was an updated version that's in your packet, and want to make sure that's the version you moved. The one change was a whereas statement that Deputy County Executive Carlson mentioned that indicates that there's a total savings.
I'm assuming that is the one that we did move. So thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? I saw Commissioner Gershenson. Do you have a question?
I do. So, Sean, can you just go over to me how the Department of Homeland Security has changed?
So that will be coming up on the next item, which is item 8.
Wait.
So, and Hillary will be happy to talk to you about that.
Okay, and then the building and safety, is that also on the next one?
That's correct.
Okay.
I love the reorg, I have to say, and it's much cleaner. I never fully understood the former thing. I know that I had brought local planning issues and concerns to economic development in the past. And I like how we are going to have one particular area to work more closely with the communities and the local business development. I see a lot of very positive changes. And I think it does make a lot of sense to put all of the communication into one area because there was a lot of duplication crossover. So I want to thank you for what you're doing here. Any other questions or comments? Let's call the roll, please.
On item number 7, Commissioners Long,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Middleton,
No.
Gershenson,
Yes.
McGillivray,
Yes.
Quarles,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Stack.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas and 1 nay.
Thank you. With that, thank you very much. Item number 8, County Exec Transfer of Homeland Security and Building Safety. I need a motion, please. Commissioner Gershenson, supported by Commissioner McGillivray.
You're abandoning me?
And we have Deputy County Exec Hillary Chambers. Do you want to talk about this, please?
I would love to. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I noticed Sean abandoned me already off the meeting. But thank you. So we have been working on this really since last fall. So, just kind of taking a look at operations on this really very, very important. And what we were struck by, and there's been, several old surveys that have been done for the county over the last years. And we brought back in some of those consultants and we were really kind of drilling down on the details. And what we were struck by and quite frankly, a little bit concerned about is that it was some of these issues were kind of spread out into several different departments within the county. So you had a manager of the emergency operations, the Homeland Security Division, who was underneath the health entity, our health division. And then you had building security that was underneath facilities. And then you have to remember, and it's not impacted by this reorganization, but risk management also has a role in this in terms of training and other things that we do on the campus. And so it was never 100% clear to us, who was in charge. And we wanted to streamline and kind of reorganize these areas, really even before the pandemic. And I think that, what the pandemic has shown is, you know, how critically important these areas are. The EOC has played such a vital role, and such a vital role beyond, you know, the ordering of supplies and the distribution of supplies. I mean, they've really played a leadership role in so many areas within our own county government and also within all of our CVTs and all of the constituency groups that we work with. And so, you know, what was striking is that even though the pandemic is health related, you know, the work that the EOC has done is so much broader than health, than within the health department. And so we wanted to move them out from underneath the health department and have them report directly to the county executive so that they would have really broader kind of vision in terms of all of the county operations and all of the county departments. And also we wanted to kind of bring over from facilities building security so that we'd have one department who could coordinate and start to strategically think through all of the issues regarding the campus. And then when it was housed in one area, they could coordinate more carefully on the issues that are connected to the sheriff's department as well. So this doesn't change any of the staffing. It really is a realignment of the Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security underneath the county executive. It does, you know, previously this was a manager position. It was appointed by the county executive, so it doesn't change that. It does elevate it to a director position. And then within that department, it creates two divisions, one which would bring building security here, and then one which would be the traditional Homeland Security division.
Do I have any questions? Commissioner Middleton, followed by Commissioner Gershenson and McGilvray.
The study that we they'd worked on for quite a few years on realigning positions, and did they address this at all, or they just?
Well, what was interesting, thank you for that question. What was interesting about the study and what was interesting about the conversations that we had with the organizations that did them is that they were more traditional studies about what we needed to do to update the security of our buildings. They didn't look at roles and responsibilities, which we always thought was a little bit curious because you know, and even the consultant said, you know, even in terms of conducting the study about building security and evaluating each of the departments, they were struck by, you know, all of the various individuals in different departments who they had to work with, that there really wasn't one person who was responsible for this. And in lieu of that, there really wasn't one person that was responsible for the implementation in terms of some of those recommendations. So it wasn't that they looked at the organization. It was what we gleaned from them in terms of talking to them about their report and how they were, you know, quite frankly, a little perplexed at how several different aspects of these responsibilities were in various different areas of the county government.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Hillary.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Gershenson's next.
Thank you. So I think this is a very well thought out reorg and probably very necessary, especially after all we've gone through this year. I think it highlighted certain areas that we need to bring to the forefront. So we are raising the position of the manager of Homeland Security.
Yes, that person will now be on par with the other directors in that category.
And then the building safety will move from facilities to be under that department?
Yes.
And so are you going to be having a lot of offices shift? Are people going to be working together? Their offices, are they going to be moved?
No, not at this juncture.
Homeland Security housed right now?
They're over, you know, in the
where's the office?
They're over in that complex behind the gates over where IT is. You know where the EOC
Okay.
is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's Tom. Tom is taking a deserved break this week, and I didn't realize he was joining us. So that shows you how diligent he is. So Tom, I'm sorry. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I was just going to say one of the reasons for no physical move is there isn't a space that would house both. There's specific technical equipment for both divisions. So to try to move that into one space right now would be costly. And the board had approved the study to look at new EOC communications that would probably involve safety. So I think the best cost effective is to wait for that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I have Commissioner McGilvray next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hillary, I have a question. With building security right now, a lot of it relies on the sheriff's department. Are you eliminating that? And or what role will the sheriff's department play in this reorg?
They will. I mean, we're not eliminating that coordination at all. I mean, that would continue. I mean, this will give Tom the opportunity to reevaluate and strengthen and make additional recommendations in terms of improvements going forward. I definitely expect and encourage and expect that to happen. But no, there is no elimination of any existing role of the sheriff's department. Indeed, I think that this allows us to, grapple more fully with that relationship, so that instead of having 3 or 4 people who are involved in this, Tom's really going to head up that effort, and he can work closely with the sheriff's department in terms of the collaboration and the roles that each of us play.
Thank you.
Any other questions? First of all, Tom, I want to thank you for everything that you've done in this. And this makes a lot of sense to me. When I first started as commissioner, Homeland Security was actually in the sheriff's department, and then it got transferred over to health. It was always confusing, and now we're unifying all of these services into one place. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
On item number 8, Commissioners Colwell? Yes. Markham?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Gershenson?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Quarles?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes our agenda. Is there any other business to come before us? Seeing none, then I will adjourn the Finance Committee.